All right, I'm going to be honest. There's some things I'm going to say in this video that are going to offend a large percent of the population. So I would ask you to go into this video with an open mind. Try not to be too sensitive, because I'm not making this video to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, right? I'm making this video to help you level up as a man and get to that next step in life. Welcome back to the studio-esque setup we got going on here. I did a video in this setup a few weeks back, and I got a lot of really positive comments. So I'm going to play around with maybe doing like, I don't know, 25% of the videos here or something like that. We also upgraded the microphone setup so you can enjoy my voice at a higher quality today. Andrew Tate, Donald Trump. When I say those names, what do you think? Because I know there's a lot of people out there who hate these individuals so much that they would quite literally rather see them locked behind bars than hear them ever say something again. But here's what you have to realize. Humans, we are corrupt. We make mistakes. We say and do dumb things by our nature. That's human nature, right? And another part of human nature is that it's very attractive to buy into like specific belief systems that have already been created, because that way we don't have to think as much for ourselves. It just makes life a bit easier. And in the case of Trump and Tate, I see some guys who have bought so deeply into their belief systems that they would quite literally die defending what Trump said or what Tate said before admitting that those people might be wrong about one thing here or there. And when I meet someone like this, someone who's basically just like a disciple of Tate, immediately I see that guy as low status, because essentially what he's done is he's placed another man, Tate or Trump, he's placed this person above him. And by definition, that means that he looks at himself as a lower level of man, a lower level of human. And just to be clear, I like both of the guys we're talking about. The point of this video is not to talk about what I agree with and don't agree with. The point is that the mark of a high status man is someone who can like someone and even look up to them and respect them, but is also ready to call them out and set things straight when they don't agree with something that person said. For example, y'all know I love Kanye West. I think he is the GOAT, the greatest musician of all time. You can leave the hate comments now. And I've always kind of agreed with his antics and his rants. Then, recently he said a lot of things that there was some truth about, what he was saying. Then he went and talked positively about Hitler, who systematically murdered millions of people. And I had to come out and say, because I'm so vocal about Kanye, look, I'm drawing the line here. That's not cool. The point is, don't have false prophets. Always look to your own experiences and your own understanding of things as your primary source of truth, and then build your belief system from there. Now, it's been a life goal of mine the last few years to someday be on the Joe Rogan podcast, because that's the only podcast I consistently listen to. I'm always just so intrigued, not only by the guests he has on, but how he questions different people from, the full political spectrum, for example. It doesn't matter who he's talking to. He's always able to sit there, have a very, calm, level-headed conversation and find out more and understands people better without ever getting a little bit upset. And for me, Joe Rogan is like the opposite of the person, kind of like the person I used to be, where whenever I went into an argument, it was like, I have to be right in this argument. I have to prove this other person wrong. And I'm going to get upset. I used to argue with my cousins about, LeBron versus Michael Jordan. And we wouldn't talk for like hours afterward. We hated each other afterwards. And that's another dead giveaway of a low status man. If you care more about what the other person thinks than what you think, and you have to prove them wrong, well, you've just shown that you value the other person above yourself, or at least what their beliefs are. So what I've done is I've tried to be more like Joe Rogan. And when I'm talking to someone, if they say something that doesn't make sense to me or that I don't agree with, rather than being like, that's wrong because of A, B, C, and D, and also Trump said it was wrong, I try to say, oh, like, interesting that, that doesn't quite make sense to me. How come you believe that? And first of all, this allows you to stay calm, cool, collected, and confident no matter who you're talking to or what you're talking about, because you never feel this pressure that, oh my God, I gotta prove them wrong. But second, low key, a lot of times it allows you to actually win people over and prove your point, because if you can understand how come they believe something, then a lot of times you can find common ground and then build from there. Also, when you're someone who's not afraid to call people out calmly and directly and say, wait, how come you're saying that? Or why do you think that? It shows high status, because it shows that you don't care so much about, you're not so afraid to break the rapport in the conversation. You're okay talking about uncomfortable things. So a lot of y'all know I grew up south of Boston, and in the suburb I grew up in, no one really had Boston accents. Boston's funny like that, where like one suburb won't have the accent, then the next one will. But when I got into high school, something happened. There was a group of guys who out of nowhere developed a Boston accent. And they started saying things like,
"Come on, kid, what do you think about that, kid? Get the fuck out of here, bro."
They started talking kind of like that. And look, I'm not hating on them. All of us go through weird phases in puberty and high school, and I did a lot of weird things that probably I would hate on right now if I could go back and see them. But the point is, they started to like identify as,
"We're gonna be the rough kids from Boston."
And I was friends with a lot of those kids, but that is something that immediately made them look low status. The way we speak, the way we communicate, whether it's fair or not, people are going to make judgments on us based on that. So it makes sense to pay attention and to very consciously choose how you communicate. Or something I used to do all the time is mumble. I had very low confidence in myself, and because of that, I would not project my voice. I would mumble a lot, and that makes people believe that you have low self-esteem and thus low status. And then just overall poor vocabulary. If you're someone who talks like you're from a really poor area, and I'm not talking racially here, like the guys in my high school started talking like this, they were all white. But if you adopt the vernacular and you adopt the vocabulary and the lingo of a group of people who is considered to be very poor and comes from a rough background, people are also going to interpret you and see you as a low status person. Look, it's not our decision where we're born and the way we speak growing up, but at some age we can make that deliberate choice. Yeah, Julie, what's up? No, I'm filming right now. The grocery store's out of food? What? Hey, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I got my Factor meals. Check it out. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Too busy to cook? With Factor, you can skip the trip to the grocery store and skip the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too. Factor meals are ready in just 2 minutes flat, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. And you can choose from different flavor-packed meal plans from keto, vegan, vegetarian, calorie smart, or my personal favorite, the protein plus option. Every meal has all the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. Trying to cut back on takeout? Get Factor instead. Not only is Factor cheaper than takeout, but meals are ready faster than restaurant delivery. Get Factor now, and you can finally enjoy clean eating without all the hassle. Today's meal is some chicken breast, tomato, broccoli. Bro, Factor meals do not miss. And because Factor is sponsoring today's video, you can head to factor75.com and use code HowToBeast50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Just go to factor75.com or click that first link down in the description to get started now. Bro, this is a game changer. Don't sleep on it. So of all the successful people I know, and some of these people you've seen on the channel, like, Max Juning, Christian Guzman, Aaron Marino, Alpha M, something that all of these people have in common when I've hung out with them privately is they will never, ever, ever hate on someone else. They will never say something negative about another person. And it makes sense. When you get to a certain level of success and you have a lot of different things going on in your life and you're always trying to work harder and level up, you don't have the time to worry about the negative things that other people are doing. You don't even start to have the thoughts about something negative about another person. And so when I am talking to someone and they do start to talk negatively about someone else, even if it's justified, immediately I start to see that person as low status. We've talked about this before, but hate comes from below. It never comes from above. And if you're hating on another man, then I can bet my entire bank account that that man is more successful than you in some area. Maybe he dates hotter girls than you date. Maybe he has a better career. Maybe he makes more money. There's something about his life that you secretly want in your life. So what you've done is you've told yourself a story that, no, that guy actually sucks, because that way you don't have to admit he's actually better than you in some way. Also, man, the YouTube comments have gotten really aggressive towards women. Like, I do these videos interviewing girls at the gym, and every time the comments are like,
"These are plastic, fake gym girls. I would never want to date a girl like that.
Don't listen to these hoes.
Focus on yourself, king."
And whenever I see one of these comments, it's immediately obvious to me that the man who left it is low status. And what he's done is he's played this mind game, and he's essentially rejected the girl by leaving this mean comment about her, because he knows if he approached her in real life, she would 100% reject him. It is just a self-defense mechanism coming from insecurity. And look, I used to be a huge hater. Back in college, I would always hate on all my friends who had success with girls and be like, man, that girl is ugly. That girl is gonna cheat on him. That girl is for the streets. And I was just saying this because I wasn't getting any girls myself, and it made me feel better about myself. So right now I'm challenging you, next time you catch yourself hating on someone or even thinking about it, don't do it. realize that you're just being a bit insecure and focus on leveling up yourself instead. So my first career was in software engineering, and I hated it. I never really enjoyed it. I hated going into work. I always looked forward to 5 o'clock when I could finally go home. It sucked. So I get it when I see other people complaining about their jobs. And I think that's one of the most common things people bitch and moan and complain about is their jobs, right? But when I see a guy doing this, immediately I look at him as low status, because he's literally saying that what he does for 8 hours of his day, 5 days a week, he hates it. And he's basically admitting he hates his life because of that. And I can tell he's probably not going to go anywhere if he has that mindset. And look, I understand that not all of us have, amazing careers that we're super proud and passionate about right now. But maybe you just have something outside of your job that you're passionate about. Like during my software engineering career, that's when I started to embrace the gym. And even though I hated being at work, I looked forward to taking that sip of pre-workout at 5 p.m., going to the gym, hitting some squats, hitting some curls, and getting a dope pump going. And that started to become my identity, right? Yeah, I was a guy who worked a corporate job, but I loved going to the gym and making gains. And that's what gave me the inspiration to start my blog and then get, my personal training and strength coach certification, and eventually led me on the entrepreneurial path that I'm on now. For example, y'all know my cousins Matt and Josh, and both of them have good careers. Josh is an engineer, for example, but what they're really passionate about is music. Y'all saw us do a dope freestyle in this new, studio Josh built for himself.
Been a long time since I've been in the video. Welcome back. Yeah, I still got the silly flow.
Whenever you're talking to them and you meet them, it becomes very obvious that these guys are super, passionate and care so much about making their music. Having something in your life that you really look forward to doing immediately makes you seem higher status, because it makes it seem like you like your life and you're going places. Whenever I talk about style and style advice, guys always get really butthurt about it, man, because I always mention that, you don't want to be wearing like super bright colors or a bunch of different striped clothing, because if you look at, masculine style and successful masculine style, it is marked by plain, solid colors. And the variety in the outfit comes from the layering and the accessories, like the watch, for example. For example, right now I'm just wearing a watch and a black shirt. It looks clean, even though it's not an edge shirt. So we got some weird like shoulder things popping up, man. That's what I get for not wearing an edge shirt. I throw on a little black bomber jacket on top of that, and immediately it just looks higher status. Stay away from the loud patterns. Stay away from the graphic tees with like an image of a band or a video game or a movie. Stick to the solid masculine colors. Now, I won't go super in-depth into correct style on this video. A few weeks back, I did a video about looks maxing, and it went super in-depth, and not just style, but grooming, haircut, facial hair, everything about how to optimize your natural looks. So I'll go ahead and link that below so you can check out that guide. If you're someone who's never left your hometown, or it's only been like once or twice in your life, that makes you look low status. And look, I know traveling is not free, but I will say if you look a few months ahead of time, usually like domestic flights in the US, you can go round trip for, I don't know, $200 or something. So the main thing is just to like plan ahead. Same thing if you're in Europe, or you can even just take, a road trip. But every single time I experience a new culture and travel somewhere new, not only is it a super amazing experience that allows me to be, fully present and just have a really good time with myself or with Julia or with my homies if I'm traveling with the homies, it also gives you perspective on your entire life. Because if you're always in the exact same environment, even if it's a super dope environment and you're in New York City, that's where you live, when you get away from that environment and you switch up your routine, you switch up the surroundings, the type of people you're around, it always gives me perspective on where I'm at in my life and what the next steps need to be. Also, I would dare you to find one single millionaire who has not traveled extensively in his life. I don't think you could find that if you tried, unless it was like some like oil field business passed down from father to son or something. People who always stay in the exact same location and they don't travel, they tend to be very close-minded. They tend to be kind of like, the Boston bros I was talking about. I don't need to leave Boston, man. This isn't even a Boston accent. I lost my Boston accent. Boston's the best city in the world, kid. I ain't going anywhere. I don't even have my passport. And this isn't something that's going to change you overnight. You're not going to fly out to Utah and come back with a suitcase full of $8 million. But it is going to make you a more well-rounded man who understands the world better, who understands people better, who's more confident, who's more self-sufficient, because you can enter a foreign environment and survive. That all being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, bro. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this like studio style of video. I think it may be more efficient for some of like the advice type of videos, but drop a comment, be honest, let me know. I recommend you check out this video next. That is the one about looks maxing and optimizing your natural appearance. And if you're new to the channel, click down there to subscribe, as I release 2 new videos every single week. I will talk to all of y'all in the next video. Stay beastly.